Well, welcome everybody. My name is Lucy Delabriere, and I know this is a really hard time slot, the last day of the last session of the last day of lots of great learning. And you guys are the diehards, and you're here till the end. And hopefully you'll pick up a few different things on differentiating learning with Google Play for EDU. And I am a Google Education trainer and a Google certified teacher. And I'm going to be presenting to you some tips for differentiating learning with Google Play for EDU, but I'm not going to be presenting this by myself. I have a team with me, and that team includes two educators from St. Albans City School, and we're all from Vermont. Matt was here last year with us, Matt Allen and Craig Lyons. And I am going to turn the screen over so that you can see Matt. And he can say hi. I have to move out. He is piping in. There we go, Matt, you're on live.
Hey, guys.
Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and a little bit about your experience and what you're doing right now.
Yeah. So my name is Matt Allen. I'm left the classroom. I'm currently in a position called the Innovation Specialist. Similar to that of an integrationist, and left the classroom 2 years ago. I had been teaching 4th, 5th, and 6th grade writing. Decided to step into a school-wide role, see what I could do there, and how much I enjoyed that. It's been a great opportunity for me to learn a lot of professional development, some real-life learning. I will be, however, going back into the classroom at the end of this school year, and I'll be stepping into a 7th and 8th grade literacy position on one of the communities in our building. This past 2 years, so last year and this year, I've had this opportunity to work with some of our teachers, and we piloted some Nexus 7 tablets and Google Play for Education. We'll talk more about the details of it, but it's been a tremendous experience. So much learning has gone on, and excited to share some of that stuff with you guys throughout today's presentation.
How many tablets did you pilot?
We started with 30, and we worked on a trail redesign building project with some local organizations here in St. Albans, including St. Albans city representatives and St. Albans town. And now we are up to over 100. I think 106, I believe, is what we have right now. And you know, the project that started this was, again, working with the St. Albans City, St. Albans Town, local gems. We have Aldous Hill Park and Hardack Recreation Area. Had some beautiful trails that unfortunately had been deteriorating. There wasn't much design behind them. And we'll go more into that later, but the project that came up with. And actually really cool, we are now starting to look at the Nexus tablet as a tool for our special educators with some of our students, because some of the features that come on the Androids or the Nexus 7s, and Google Play plays a role in that as well.
Great, thanks, Matt. And they are, the St. Albans is a one-to-one school with laptops and Chromebooks. And so the tablets are not, instead of a laptop and Chromebook, they were added as another tool to offer some differentiation, which we're going to talk about throughout this presentation. So the goal of this presentation was not to talk about tablets, it was to talk about Google Play for EDU and its potential for differentiation. And what I'd like for you to know a little bit is about what role you play in your organization, maybe what you already know and what your interests are and what you want to know in terms of these 4 areas. You probably have some questions that drew you here on that last day of a 2-day conference. We're going to feature the blue area, the features of Google Play for EDU that provides powerful opportunities for differentiation. How many of you came here to get answers to that question? Great. How many of you have some technical how-to questions? And I said, I wonder if I have questions in that area. Okay. So those we're not going to cover here, but I'm going to show you where we can get those covered because we only have 40 minutes together. And then how many of you have some questions about what content is available in Google Play for EDU that can best differentiate? Okay, now I'll show you where you can find those answers too. And the place where you're going to find those answers are going to be in the Google Plus community in the red area and the green area, in the green bucket. So we're going to focus on the blue bucket, but there is a great Google Plus community that you can join on Google Play for EDU. You can see it here. And if everybody here on Google Plus already, there's a community you want to be on, and it's a fabulous community. For example, I posted something here, a question on fractions, and people responded as to what type of fraction apps were out there for that student. So that's the place where you can get really quick answers to some of the technical questions and the how-to. What I'm curious about before we move on is how many of you here have tablets already in your school? Couple people. How many are thinking of getting tablets? All right. Are you all Google schools already? Okay, great. So one of the things that really intrigued me last year at this time was Google releasing the Google Play for EDU. And I liked the part that it matched my pedagogy, which is to differentiate for students on a lot of different levels. So I'm going to show you places on Google Play for EDU that really rank high in my book as far as the potential to differentiate. We'll look at some educator-approved content, and let's start by talking about the Google Play for EDU and Google Play. First of all, they're not the same thing. So if you go to play.google.com, you're not going to get to Google Play for EDU. You have to go to play.google.com/edu. If you have a Google, you have to be in a Google domain, and if you go there, you may get a message that says this has not been set up for your domain yet. How many of you already have a Google Play account EDU version? Nobody here? Okay, so it used to be a little tricky a year ago to get signed up, and there was a few hoops you had to jump through, and what I have found now is last time I helped people set up, we were set up within 5 minutes. So it's a lot easier to get set up now, but your domain administrator will have to enable teachers to be able to get set up for Google Play for EDU, but it can happen within a 15-minute period. You don't have to wait 24 hours to get approved. So if you go to your domain, to play.google.com/edu, you are going to find that it's going to say you have or have not been set up in your domain. One of the things that is really powerful about differentiation is who knows how to differentiate the best? It is the teacher. The teacher knows the students in the class, and what your kids need today may not be what they need 2 weeks from now. So one of the great things about Google Play for EDU, how it was set up, is that it was easy on the IT department, and it put the control back to the teacher. The teachers are the ones that get to install the apps instantly. That night when you're planning, you can be installing apps. You can be managing content. You can even make your own purchases depending on how the IT person has set up your Google Play for EDU. And we're going to show you how to do that in a little bit. So it puts the power back into the hands of the person who understands student needs the best, and that's you. And it helps you and your students to be able to find what they need more quickly, not having to wait a year for either the IT people to approve it or the budget people to approve it. They can put that power back in your hands immediately. Before we move on, I said put the power back in the hands of the students. I'm going to show you one more thing, not just the teachers, but the students. When computers come into a classroom, they get there by having the IT department go through a lot of different steps. And I remember the first time we got laptops at a school I worked with, the laptops were piled high on the floor for 2 months before they got out there because we had lost our IT administrator. And Craig came to visit, and he helped us figure it out. 2 years later, he found himself the IT person at that school. But it took a long time. I'm going to play this very short video to show you how easy it is to set up the tablets using Google Play for EDU.
Hi, I'm Brianna. Hi, I'm Kiana. Hi, I'm Harrison. And we're
Pause it for a second, and I'm just looking to see if I put. Can you hear it?
second grade. We're going to provision 25 Nexus tablets in 3 minutes. Watch now.
So I won't let you watch this. Actually, it's not 3 minutes long, but.
It doesn't make that sound. So all you have to do is you have to press done, and you press OK, then you press set up devices, then you press OK again, and then you have to let it load, then you keep pressing this button, and then you're back to this screen.
That's a little bit easier than setting up those laptops.
Hi, I'm Brianna. Hi, I'm Kiana.
Let me just stop that for a second. And so putting the differentiation back in the hands of the teachers and the students was pretty important. I'm going to put Matt back on the screen. Matt, we just did a quick show of the video of the kids setting up the laptops and how easy it is to put them in the hands of students. Did you let your students do it, or did you do it?
The first round I did it because I wanted to make sure that I understood what the heck I was doing. And so I wanted to make sure that I understood it, had the system down, and it really is as easy as it looks, but I wanted to make sure that, enough times of having negative experiences with some things, not technology, but the setup of some technology, made me a little hesitant to believe it was going to be as easy as they made it look. Put the first ones together, boom. Was that easy? And then second one actually left it in the hands of one student in particular who headed it up, and he got the rest of it going for me. So yeah, it's very possible for the kids to do it.
So that's how it makes it powerful for differentiation, but I just wanted to kind of show you that. We're not on the same Wi-Fi here, so I can't quite demonstrate it. That's why we ended up using a video. Whoops. Looks like I started us in the wrong place. It gets back here. Okay, so the other reason that this is really powerful is that it's not about the tablet. It's about having a multiple of tools that are available for different opportunities, for different types of opportunities. So Google Play for EDU is also for Chromebooks and for tablets. And I'm going to show you here how you can assign a book to a student, and it could be on their Chromebook, it could be a Chrome at home, it could be on their tablet. So there's a lot of differentiation potential by having different types of tools. Matt talked about the Trail project, which you heard a few minutes ago. And one of the reasons that he picked the tablets, even though the school also has iPads, was because of a certain feature that tablet had. And how that feature, I believe he'll do a better job talking about it, but I think it was that GPS feature that you liked about it?
It was definitely one of the points. The reason we went with Android, one of the reasons was the Google Play for Education, which we really wanted to give a try because we knew the Android or the iPad role and how difficult that is. The reason we specifically chose the Nexus 7 over some of the other Android options, two things. One, it was the GPS, and then the second one is having the multiple users to be able to sign into. And
so the GPS unit and the multiple users. What he's talking about is that, I'll put it back on the screen here, and is that this year, I think it was mid-year, Google added the feature. They listened to teachers say, you know what, we got 5 kids using these. And they added the feature that you could add 5 users and just switch it in and out of the different users per machine. So you don't need one for every student to be able to leverage the differentiation features. So what are you going to do? To log in, you would go to play.google.com.edu, get your administrator to turn it on, and I'm going to give you a sneak peek at the Google Play for EDU store. I've even set up a couple accounts, but I think because we only have 40 minutes, I'm just going to go through and show you, give you the sneak peek, and after this session is, if you want to use one of my test teacher accounts, we can do a small group and I can let you in for a day or so that you can see these features. I won't use the 40 minutes to have you do that now. We'll come back to that. The first thing that happens is when you go into Google Play for EDU is you can search by grade level. It's not always obvious. So when you go in there, one of the things you're going to have to do is type in the topic, like fractions, and then a new menu appears and you can search by grade level for content. The content has all been vetted by teachers and educators. So once you type in your content, and if you don't see the grade level feature, come back to this slide and I'll remind you that you have to type in a title and then grade level appears, and then you can filter down by grade level. So you may have students of different grade levels in your class, and at the beginning of the year, they may be at a 3rd grade reading level, and by the end of the year, they're at a 4th grade reading level. So now you can start to assign different content to students on their tablet based by grade level. The other thing is you can search by instructional content. So if you look on the left-hand side here, I see mathematics is my choice, and it will pop up some educator-vetted apps for mathematics. All of these have been reviewed by educators, and the review team went through and looked to see if you'll see these little stars here, and an EDU piece says, okay, some educator has looked at this. In-app free means when you get there, that app does not have any in-app purchases. How many times have you got an app and then you said, oh, I'm using it to level 3 and now I have to buy it? And if it says ad-free, it shows that it doesn't contain any advertisements. So as educators, we all want free, but sometimes free comes with advertisements. Sometimes it comes with premium. So you can do it while you're searching and say, okay, I only want to search for stuff that's EDU, then you can, that's ad-free, then you'll go through and look for ad-free as one of the marks. The next thing that a lot of people don't know, they think it's all about tablets. This year, about mid-year, Google started to add Chrome apps. So now Chrome apps are in Google Play for EDU. So you can choose Chrome apps, which you'll see here, and then you can go down and pick mathematics and only get Chrome apps that are classified under mathematics. Installing a Chrome app from your Google Play for EDU is possible. So let's say that you are at home and you've got a student who needs a little extra challenge. Tomorrow you've got an assignment plan, and you know there are 4 kids who are going to get it done in 20 minutes. So I'll use this 4 numbers game, which has some great mathematical puzzles. You may not want to send it to the whole class. You may want to send it to the group tonight where it will show up on those students' Chromebooks when they get to class tomorrow. So you don't have to use your precious class time to say, you 4, go ahead and download this. You send it out maybe to your whole class because you did a formative assessment last night, and now you're looking at it and you're saying, I wish that we got through this a little faster. I think I'd like to do this, but now I'm going to have to go and make sure the kids download it, or I tell IT to add it to all the Chromebooks. So in this case, you can send it out right to a student. What happens when I say send it out? I'll show it to you at the very bottom here. It says send to student. I sent this app out last night to one of these devices, and it's logged in as student 1 test. So now, within minutes, that was a Chromebook. So send it out to that student's Chromebook. When that student takes their Chromebook out of the cart, it's going to have that app installed. Oops. And all it does is say finish, and now, and within the next few minutes, it'll be there. So you don't use your class time for that. So not only does it allow you to set up your class time ahead of time, you could decide that night that you want to set up centers. You may not be in a one-to-one school. You may have certain Chromebooks that you're going to set up in your classroom that will become centers. So here's an app, and I could take the TAC app, EDU, send it to that Chromebook, and I can make that decision at night while I'm not at school, and it'll be ready for me the next day. Yes? Okay, yes, to that student account on Chrome. So if they want to work on this at home, and they log into Chrome, not the Google Apps account, but onto Chrome at home, then they would be able to have it on their Chrome account at home. And it does say Chromebooks all across the literature in Google Play for EDU. Matt and I tested it so that it was available on the Chromebook. So we tested it on different types of devices that were not Chromebooks. Matt, do you want, oh, go ahead.
It'll work on your Android, your Chromebook, or a PC running Chrome.
Yes, and the Android is a slightly different piece, but I'm talking about like if you sent a Chrome app. If you sent an Android app, that's not going to work on your Chromebook. Yeah, there are some things happening there. Matt, I can't see you, but Craig can see you. So if you want to chime in, because I've got my slides up, give Craig a wave, and he'll interrupt me so that you can chime in, and I'll put you on screen.
All right, I will do that.
Okay, I guess that was not now. That was, he will do that. Okay. So thanks for asking. And go ahead and wave, and I will interrupt in my flow and give you the time to ask questions, because we're a nice small group and we can do that here. So we did Chrome apps. Now we're going to do books. So what Books does is an area called Books on Google Play for EDU. We did Android apps, Chrome apps, and Books. So what Books does, it allows you to search the library for books that Google has established a partnership with, and you can take those books if they're free and just send them out to certain students. But if they're not free, then you can, let me pick my next slide hopefully, personalize the books by giving certain books. And you don't buy the book, you end up renting it for so many days, the whole year maybe, or half a year maybe. For example, I'll use this crash course in French right here. And we just spent a month in West Palm Beach. And we were at a campground that was all French. Well, I speak French really well. But I flew back to Vermont, and my husband was there and didn't know any French. So I kind of was picking on him. I said, oh, look, I found a crash course in French for you. And if I wanted to buy that book on Amazon, it would have been $6.64. But he probably doesn't need it that long. He'll pick things up pretty quickly. And so what I could do is rent that book to, I'm looking in there. Yes. Okay, I want to make sure I could see it right. I could rent that book for 60 days for 99 cents. So it doesn't allow you to buy the book. It allows you to rent it. And the nice thing about this is in your classroom, you may have been teaching the Revealer. Anybody teach the Revealer, 7th and 8th grade? His new book is called True Shoes, and I'm trying to think Wilhelm's first name. So you may have some students who've already read the Revealer. So you could decide, for you three, I'm going to give you the next book, and you're going to read True Shoes instead of the Revealer. So that's one of the things that I liked about the personalized reading and being able to do that to Google Play for EDU. What you'll do is you'll buy so many licenses, and once you buy the licenses, you don't start using them until you assign them to a student. So you could be doing some planning and some budget work and say, all right, I've got 30 students. And I'm going to use these books, but I don't know if when I'm going to use them. I don't know when I'm going to be ready to use them. So your rental period doesn't start until you assign the book to the student. And let me see what else I've got going on here. And here's how you send it to a student. You put their Google address in here, and then you just, oops. Thought I had another click here. Right here, it will just say important, your rental period, and then when the student gets it on his device, they can read it in Chrome, or they can read it on the Android. So if they start reading it at home, what school, it will figure out where they left off, and there are features like note-taking and dictionaries and stuff that are available to them. The next piece that I really like is that there are a lot of features for differentiation that are available on your Chromebook and on your Android device. One of them is read books on the Android. It's a nice little article I linked here, and you can change the fonts. There's places to take notes, and the notes will synchronize. You can bookmark on your device. There's a translate feature. There's a dictionary feature. And when I first tried this, I turned on the accessibility features for Chrome to read my book, and I couldn't turn it off. So I was stuck, and it was just reading everything, and I went to Google on another device and figured out that the turn off feature was off the screen slightly. And I'm just showing you this because you might get stuck in that same place when you try this. Before you do this, click on the turning off talkback so that you'll know how to turn it off when you test this. If you're testing it on your phone or I tested it on my phone or your tablet. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, here's a couple how-tos on reading books in mobile or in Chrome, and using some of the features. I put some little links for you here. How do you add notes? How do you add the bookmarks? And how do you transfer materials that you've created to your device so that you can take advantage of these features? So you can download and transfer books to e-readers. So these are just a couple ways and a couple links to help you get right to the heart of differentiation using the differentiated reading features. The next part is assigning videos to students. Now, you might think they've got YouTube unblocked finally. How many of you have YouTube unblocked? It took us a while to get there from some schools. Some schools have had it unblocked for a long time, but it can be really distracting for students. There's all these extra videos that they're going to see, and maybe not everybody needs that same video. So if you have some videos that you want to send to students as part of their lesson, they turn on their Chromebook, they turn on their tablet, and the videos that they need to complete the assignment or as a resource are there in their lesson. So that's one of the reasons to do this. And of course, I always look for the EDU yellow sign to make sure that I have an educator-approved version of that video. Because a lot of people are making videos out there, but they might necessarily be great videos. My son is into music education. He goes, "Mom, there's so many awful videos, people teaching that really certain music things that contradict music theory. I put a comment into one, somebody deleted my comment." And so in this case, if you were a music educator, you would be able to look for videos that were approved by music educators. And then you can unassign them so that those videos don't clutter up that student's Chromebook or their iPad. Videos? Oh, yes, not iPad, thank you. Oops, the tablet, thank you. And where are we now? Okay, so how you would assign them is you just enter their name. Down here, I entered the person's name, and let's click it here. Oops. Basically, it would just send it to their device. Now, one little trick is your student is going to have to go to play.google.com/edu/videos instead of YouTube to see it. Same thing would happen with books. Pausing for a second before we go into how to manage the content. Yes? I'm going to guess that it would have to be unblocked, but let me see if Matt knows. And I'm repeating the question. The question, Matt, was if you have YouTube blocked and you go through Google Play for EDU, would it still work?
I believe it has to be unblocked because it does still tie into a YouTube video. So while it doesn't bring you to YouTube, it is pulling it from YouTube. Although I haven't actually experienced it yet, I think, wow, that's a good question. I don't think it's possible when it's blocked, though. We can do some research, though, and definitely get back to you on that.
Just see me after and we can try it out. Although we would have to block YouTube at our school. I don't know how you're going to research that one, Matt. It has never been blocked at that school. We do a really good digital education with our students K through 8, and so we haven't had that experience, but I do know places where I could give it a try. And there's also YouTube for schools and EDU, YouTube for schools, so the question should also be extended is if you have YouTube for school, I'm assuming that all the videos on here are also in YouTube for schools, so maybe you could have that turned on, which is not the whole YouTube suite. I'm going to look into that. It's a good question. Okay, so let's see where we left off. Any other questions about what we just talked about before we move into how it all looks under the hood? Right, okay, so again, we're putting these tools in the hands of the teacher to assign to different students. And what a teacher account gets to see is this section down below, Manage Contents. And when I do that, I can see if I choose Manage Content, I'll see all the apps, books, and videos that I've shared with students. So as a teacher, I know that I have assigned lots of work, but I don't keep track of, where do I keep track of who has what book? So they have a really nice interface for a teacher dashboard that shows you who's got it, and it looks like I haven't assigned this book yet, so I can tell that by just taking a look at it. But then when I look at the whole dashboard for videos and books, I will go down and see that it's been assigned to a device or to a certain person. I can see how many are remaining, and you'll notice that I can assign them from right inside this dashboard. Oops, I have only assigned one, and I have one more copy. I can go assign another one. The other piece is I can delegate, and I can delegate the piece, the assigning of Android of books to someone else. So that's also useful if you're co-teaching. The managing apps, one of the things that I like about the managing apps is I can uninstall an app. It's right from my device. So if I have an app that's really that I purchased, that costs a certain amount of money, and I don't need that app anymore on that student's device, I can uninstall it. What will have to happen first is your network admin has to add your teachers right to Google Play for EDU. So they have to add your teachers, and once they've added your teachers, they don't add students, obviously, they can instantly go into Google Play for EDU and start looking and installing free content, and we'll show you how to do paid content in a few minutes. There we go, paid content. So how the paid content works is that you can do it by purchase orders. So Craig, as the admin, has set up a relationship with Google, and you have to fill out the... Oh, you made Matt an admin, okay. So what he'll do is he will set up a relationship with Google as a vendor, and then you can do purchase orders, and then you can assign a purchase order to a student so that it is no longer the IT person that has to go do all that. They can say, okay, you get to spend this purchase order. So that's, or how many teachers get to spend that purchase order. If you don't want to do that, you can put in a Google Play card or set up Google Wallet. On my domain, I ended up using a Google Play card because I wasn't doing a lot of purchasing. Let me see if Matt has anything to add to the purchase order part.
Yeah, the purchase orders are actually really nice because you can set up multiple purchase orders. So for example, the way that our school is broken down is by learning communities. And so what we've done is said, okay, so these teachers are this learning community. They have this amount of money. And then they're the only ones that get to it other than the admin. But these teachers have this amount of money, and they're a different learning community. And so it's really nice because you can set up multiple purchase orders, delegate them to the right teachers, and give the teachers all the power they need to purchase the apps or the books or whatever else that they are looking for at that moment. It's really is a beautiful setup that they have going.
It really helps put the power back in the hands of the teacher, who is the one who really knows what they need, but they don't always know it a year ahead of time during budget time. They might just be able to say, I need this amount. Okay, so let's see how much time we have left, a few minutes left. So giving teachers access is as easy as just adding them, teacher one. If you guys want to try this after our session, I'll give you a couple access accounts to my domain that you can play with for, the next 24 hours and look around. And as you can see here, we have a bunch of teachers with teacher access, and there's the purchase order button that has to be enabled. Now the teacher gets to manage students. Once they have access, you can take a look at the different students, and you can type in a student's name here, and that will tell you what apps, what books, and I've got, go back here, tell you what app, what books were assigned to that student. And we've done, and again, just to reiterate that this can happen on Chrome devices as well as on Google Apps. I'm going to take questions now, and so just wanted to also mention that Google Play for EDU community, and I have extra slides in case we need them, in case we run out of time, and I do want to come back to groups, but let's take some questions. I'm going to put Matt on the screen in case you have a question for him, and then I want to maybe end with a couple comments about Google Groups and why they're important. Yes? That's a great question. So I'm going to repeat it so Matt can hear it. And so the question was, as a teacher, I can see what a student has, what Johnny has assigned to him. But let's say I teach as part of a team, and can my co-teacher logged into their account look at Johnny and say, Johnny has these 4 books, or an English teacher might, or science teacher?
Yeah, that's one of the cool things is I can see everything that any of my kids have. So if I have a student and they're in my learning community, for example, our 7th and 8th grades have 5 educators, including the special educator. Any one of them can see everything that the students have, has the right and the ability to share with them. And so if you set it up this way, you can absolutely see anybody that works with the student can see what tools, apps, videos, etc. they have access to, and can revoke them or push them out to them as well.
Great, good question. We are close to finish. I'll see if there are any more questions for Matt or myself, and then I'll gladly stay after to those of you who want to go into the community. I did screenshots because it was faster in a short amount of time to show you that than to have you watch me navigate up and down, so I'll help you with that. Any other questions? Great. Then what I would say, if you do have some questions, probably the best place might be find Matt or I on Google+. I'm on there a couple different times. One is Lucy Delabrie, all the Lucy Delabrie, but because I wear different hats, look for the one that has this pink jacket, which I happen to be wearing today, and this bus. That is our home that we live in full time. That's right now at Moss Park and with the Sandhill Crane. So if you find the one with the bus, that's the one you want to contact me. Or Matt has EDU on your name. There's a lot of Matt Allens in the world.
I was lucky to get the one with EDU, I think I found out.
Okay, so we'd be glad to help you out with any questions you might have, and I'll stick around after. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take care.